All right, heroes, it is I, your friendly neighborhood Rabbi John Carrier, and in just a moment we are going to get started with the Jew Curious Show live on the internet. It is Fun Friday, which means that you and I are going to discuss the Torah portion of the week just a little bit. Then we are going to jump into playing with our good friend Link of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. And today, we're in the context of discussing the Torah portion of the week, the Parashat HaShavua, we're going to answer the burning question, why does Judaism have so many rules? Right after this brief musical interlude. Stick around, hero. Can't wait to learn with you. Back to the Jew Curious Show. This is a show where we discuss Judaism. You can ask me anything at all. I'm a rabbi. I've been a rabbi about 6 years now. It'll be 6 years this summer. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But I've been teaching about Judaism here in Southern California for going on 6 years. For that whole time, I've been trying to find new ways to teach through digital media. D. Willexen in the house says, Boker Tov L'Kulam. He knows what I'm talking about. So, in any case, really excited to be with you today. I do this because I believe in my heart of hearts that Judaism, learning about Judaism, practicing Jewish traditions, getting to know Jewish people is the key to a life of greater meaning, greater joy, greater human connection, and greater personal growth. And I believe this is accessible to everyone, everywhere, and that's why I teach in funky ways over the airwaves or the TCP/IP access protocols, and it's only fair that you get to see my face. Where's my face at? There it is. Uh-oh, sorry about that. That's my face. So, we're about to get started. Feel free to ask questions, whatever questions you have about Judaism, Jewish tradition, Jewish recipes, Jewish people. I will answer them as very best I can. And really excited to learn with you today, and also excited to answer the burning question, why does Judaism have so many rules? There's lots of rules to Judaism. Why is there so many things that you're supposed to do and not do, for that matter? So we'll talk about that today. There's some commentary on that comes up in Parashat Bo. That's the Torah portion of the week that we're on right now. This is a great Torah portion. They're all great, but like this one is a really pivotal scene in the narrative of Exodus, right? Sefer Shemot, or which means names, because it starts with, kind of a roll call of our people, and then goes into the story of being enslaved in Egypt. God has a little something to say about that, sends God's friend Moses and his brother Aaron down to say, stop it, Pharaoh, let us go. And Pharaoh says no, and then there's plagues. There's 10 of them. Last week's Parsha covered the first 7. This Parsha has the last 3 plagues, concluding with the plague of darkness. No, that's wrong. It's not darkness. Sorry about that. Darkness is scary, but it's actually death. Somewhat scarier than darkness. I think most people are afraid of darkness because they think that's where death might happen. So really, the last plague is the plague of the death of the firstborn. And then we're about to be set free. Right, next week we're going to cross the Sea of Reeds, and that's going to be dope. But before then, God gives us Passover. It says, okay, first, to keep from getting killed, you're going to have to paint your doorposts with lamb's blood, and then the Malach HaMashchit, the sort of destroying force that comes through and wipes out the firstborn of the Egyptians, will pass over your house. There's a holiday in the making, I think. So this Malach HaMashchit, this destroying force, some people call it the Malach HaMavis, or the angel of death, goes through and takes the lives of the firstborn throughout the kingdom, except ours, which was cool if we did the door painty bloody thing. And so, along with this, not just the door painty bloody thing, God gives us specific instructions for how to observe this occasion, how to mark this occasion. There's lamb involved, which is delicious. Sorry to my vegan friends out there. Just had a great conversation with a guy named Alex Weiss, who runs a podcast, or is planning to run a podcast on let's say plant-free, or excuse, not plant-free. That sounds delicious too. So plant-based Judaism, let's say, sort of a vegan approach to Judaism or a Jewish approach to veganism. And so anyway, there's lamb. There's a specific way that it's supposed to be prepared. There's a specific way it's supposed to be shared. Rules, 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 rules. In fact, it's noted that, up until this point in the Torah, we've gotten like a rule here and a rule there, everywhere, a rule. It's a little old McDonaldy there. Speaking of farm animals, see, looks like something's wrong with the broadcast this morning. Really sorry about that. Wow, Rabbi, you're really pixelated. So I don't know if I want to unplug my camera and see if my camera plugs back in. Boop-a-doop-boop-boo. Let's try this. Can you hear me okay? All right. Let's see. Venus Black 8 asks, where can I find a book about the Jewish approach to veganism? I suggest Amazon. There's another teaching in Parashat Bo, which I was going to share in another format I shared this in the Jew Curious School this week, that there's a saying, we should teach our tongues to say, I don't know, lest we be caught in a falsehood. I have no idea what good books are out there on Jewish veganism. I'm sure they exist, or there are resources out there. So I would just Google Jewish vegan, or go to, go to Amazon and look up, just put in Jewish vegan, and you'll find some good resources out there. There is I think the guy's podcast is called Shemaiah or Shemaim. So look for that. His name is Alex Weiss. Shmuley Yanklowitz does a lot of teaching about this as well. So look up Shmuley Yanklowitz, spelled exactly how it sounds. Yanklowitz. I don't want to venture to spell it because he's such a good rabbi. I don't want to mess up his name on live on the internet. But he's an advocate of a plant-based lifestyle. So look up Shmuley Yanklowitz vegan. You'll find. He's got a couple of books out, but not on this, I don't think. So you'll be able to find resources there. That's the best I could do for you. It's really not my bag. I'm kind of a carnivore when I'm not an omnivore. So, but I support people's decisions. So sorry if I'm a little bit pixelated here. I don't want to pull out too many plugs. But let's see, glitchy and looping. Looks like it's okay on Facebook, but not so much on the Twitch. I'm going to see if I can turn my camera off again. Boop. Did I pull out the wrong one? Boop. Yep, looks like I successfully pulled out my camera and broke my live stream. So that's the fun part about going live. But just in just a second, we're going to get back to the topic at hand, which is, let's see, switching to the YouTube feed, which is clear. Let me just make sure. I don't know if you can see me moving at all now on Twitch. It looks, at least on my end, it looks like it has video capture device. Looks like my camera has stopped. Check out my device here. Deactivate. And reactivate. Come on, that's my funny face. Okay, guys, let's see. Both are frozen. Audio is fine. So let's see if we can move on from here. And if the bad camera quality persists, we'll just call it a day. We'll have fun next Friday. Let's soldier on. Rabbi, we missed the Jew Curious class on Wednesday. Tried to watch yesterday, but they weren't videos yet. When will they be posted as videos? Thanks, Nawa64. I'm going to try to get that done before Shabbos today. Things have been kind of a little crazy in Carrier Land, and I'll give you all the details when I'm at liberty to give you all the details. But sometimes my rabbiing duties overlap a little bit, and one will push out the other. What's been happening over the last couple of weeks is been working on being a permanent rabbi someplace in the near future, and so that's been taking a lot of my time, and hopefully it'll take less of my time very soon. Like, not the rabbiing part, that's still going to take all my time, and that's cool. That's what I love to do most. I feel like I get to spend all my time doing stuff that I really love. I'm a really lucky dude, and I bless all of you that you have that in your life or have it someday, because it's a great way to live. But sometimes things edge each other out. So my goal is to get the videos and audios up of our Parashat HaShavua and our anti-Semitism classes that we've been doing up before Shabbos. But it's going to be kind of a crazy day. So we're going to do Zelda for a little bit, and then we are going to, then I've got to have lunch with my old friend Jerry, and we've got a plan for a funeral for the wife of another old friend, which is sad, but you know, it happens. She lived a very good life. Then meeting with another friend, and then meeting with a bar mitzvah student, and then meeting with a new friend, and then going to services tonight where I have to give a sermon, but I don't have to lead the service. The service is going to be led by fourth graders, which is very cool. They're very talented fourth graders. So with that, I think it might be the Twitch. I don't know if you can see my face moving at this point. Let me know. So feel free to ask questions about Judaism, but let me get back to the matter at hand. Why so many rules? So throughout the Torah, we've been given a few things to do, and we have a cat. We're talking about cat person in here somewhere. Super busy man. Yeah, I don't like complaining about it, so I won't. It's good. It's good to be busy. Keeps me out of trouble. No rest for the wicked, as they say. So far in the Torah, we've gotten a few rules, right? Right out of the gate, go forth and multiply, right? Pru. That's a big rule. Very popular, by the way. It's happened. I think people say it's happened about 70 billion times over the course of human history, and about 7 billion of those are still around. There's another mitzvah that comes up where Abraham is sitting down while Abraham is talking to God, and people are like, "Why is he sitting down?" And then they say, "Read the parsha right before that where he just circumcised himself." And so that's the only reason Abraham would be sitting down while talking to the Holy One. So the Holy One, it's said that God is visiting Abraham while Abraham's sitting down, which teaches us that we should visit sick people. This is Bikur Cholim. This is another important mitzvah. But we just sort of pick up tidbits of mitzvahs in the narrative until we get to Parashat Bo. In Parashat Bo, suddenly we get a list of boom, 20 rules, 20 things, do's and don'ts, right out of the gate. And it has to do with the celebration of the first Passover. Up until this point, it's been kind of a family story, and we can learn values and a few commandments from those family stories for all of Genesis and the first part of Exodus. But then once we get into about chapter 12, 13 of Exodus, suddenly it's like, all right, guys, here's a bunch of rules for you. So every year at this time, first off, you're going to celebrate Rosh Chodesh. So some people say the first organized mitzvah that wasn't just something we learned from a funny family story is to mark the new moon, right? It says we're going to mark the new moon of the first month of the year. That's the month of Nisan by the Hebrew calendar. And on this month, in the middle of the month, right, because you have to mark the beginning of the month, that's Rosh Chodesh, before you can get to the middle of the month. So have a Rosh Chodesh, and then in the middle of the month, you're going to celebrate and commemorate this occasion of leaving Egypt. We're going to do the first one here while we're still in Egypt, right? Because you got to do something with all those lambs you killed for the bloody dory posty thing. So here's how we're going to eat those. And then every year from now on, you're going to eat this lamb, and you're going to eat it with crackers, right? Unleavened bread, these matzah things like giant saltines without the salt, and they're delightful. So every year you're gonna have unleavened bread. Freudian slip there with the doorpost. You're gonna have unleavened bread, and you're gonna eat a lamb. You have to eat it in a certain way, and no risen bread for like a week, and you can't have leftovers. Like, you have to eat that sacrifice all on the same night. You can't have leftovers till later. And you're going to do this every year. And so when your children ask you, why are we doing this funny thing, like generations from now, you can say, I do this to remember what God did for me in Egypt, right? And so it lists a bunch of ways of how to do that. And there's a couple of books out there, ancient books on the mitzvot. There's a tradition, we have Taryag mitzvot, which means we have 613 commandments in the Torah. The traditional counting is, if you go through the Torah, first 5 books of Moses, count up every time it says, thou shalt and thou shalt not, plus, the Pruervu and the visiting sick people thing, which we sort of learn by Midrash. If you count all those up, you get 613 rules. And this Parsha, Parashat Bo, is the first time we have this big list of like 20 of those rules. And so there's a couple of books out there, one written by a fellow named Maimonides, kind of famous in certain circles, who went through and listed all these 613 commandments and gave the reason for them. Like, why do we do these things? What is this supposed to teach us? How is it supposed to shape us? And there's another guy who did the same thing. We don't know what his name is. The book that he wrote was called Sefer HaChinuch, or the Book of Instruction, or the Book of Education. And so we don't know the name of the author of the book, so we just call him Sefer HaChinuch. It's a custom in rabbinic circles that people are often nicknamed after their most famous work, like the Chofetz Chaim. That wasn't his real name. His real name was Kagan, but they call him the Chofetz Chaim because he wrote this book called the Chofetz Chaim, which was about speech ethics. So in any case, the Sefer HaChinuch did the same kind of book that Maimonides did. It's kind of like how, if I understand correctly, Newton and Leibniz sort of spontaneously co-invented calculus, right? And Darwin and another guy someplace else, working somewhere else, spontaneously invented the theory of evolution, right? One of those guys gets credit for it. So similarly, Maimonides and Sefer HaChinuch sort of spontaneously wrote the same book, giving the reason for the mitzvot. The Sefer HaChinuch specifically comments on this parsha and says, boy, that's a lot of rules right at once. What's the point, right? I get it that we want to commemorate Passover, but couldn't you just do that with like one rule, right? Wouldn't the cracker thing be enough? Or wouldn't the lamb slaughtering thing be enough? And you might wonder, like, why do we not eat lamb at Passover? So there's, again, different communities, different customs. My understanding is that Sephardic communities will often have lamb for Passover. Ashkenazi communities largely don't, reasoning that because we don't have the temple, we don't do sacrifices, so the lamb thing is off the table, and we like to be different from the Sephardim, so we don't have lamb. I will serve lamb at Passover sometimes. Again, carnivore. So Sefer HaChinuch asks the question, sort of a rhetorical question, because people probably ask him this question: why can't we just commemorate Passover once? Why do we have to do it every year? And why do we do all these different things rather than just one thing? Like, pick one. Pick the cracker thing. Pick the Elijah Cup thing. Pick one aspect of the Seder so it's not 6 hours long, and then have a thing for a week, which just really plays havoc on the digestive system, unless you do what I do, which is sort of use it as an opportunity for, eating paleo for a week. Why all these rules? And what the Sefer HaChinuch teaches is that this is God's recognition, and perhaps Judaism as a culture's recognition, that it is actions that shape character, right? Whatever attitude you walk around with, right, that has less impact on the content of your character than what you do on a regular basis, right? They're saying, like, look, you could come in, you could be a total scoundrel, you could be a total atheist, you could be a total whatever, but if you sit down and you do the things according to the rules, if you sit down and walk through all the steps of Passover Seder, the idea is that eventually by doing those actions are going to influence your character, and so on for all of the mitzvot of the Torah, right? This shows that it's our habits that shape us. It's what we do on the outside that shapes who we are on the inside, right? As a kind of counterpoint to that, he says, like, you could be a very spiritual person, you could be a holy person walking around with great attitudes about everybody and a deep belief in God, but if you say, well, I'm a pretty holy person, so it's kind of cool if I cheat in business a little bit, I'm just gonna short this one guy on a contract over here, I'm gonna short this guy's wages over here, and if you walk around doing wicked things, eventually that's going to erase the goodness of your heart, and you are going to be shaped by those actions. So that's a kind of a long answer for a short answer as to why Judaism has so many rules, because we recognize from the very beginning that it's not belief that shapes character, although that goes a long way, right? You have to believe that the actions are going to be effective. You have to believe perhaps in the basis of the actions, but you kind of don't, right? Even if you don't believe that God spoke to Moses on Sinai, Moses faithfully wrote all this stuff down on stone tablets, and it got carried in a box and was transmitted faithfully throughout the generations with no transmission error, and that what we do today is the word of the living God going back 3,000 or more years. If you don't believe all that, but you do the mitzvot, right? If you give to the poor, if you protect the rights of workers, if you protect the dignity of animals even when you're eating them, right? If you follow all these rules, those are going to shape your character regardless of what you believe going in. And so that's the lesson of Parashat Bo. And there's a few other lessons in there, but that's the one that I wanted to focus on today. So really great to see. There was a question about prayers on the passing of a pet. And so I'll say there's... I don't know. There's another lesson in Parashat Bo that, as I said earlier, teach your tongue to say "I don't know," lest you be called into falsehood. So I don't know of any particular prayers in the Siddur that are involved for the passing of pets. Jews being wealthy enough to own pets is a relatively new phenomenon, and I'm gonna say this carefully. Like I don't have any pets right now. My place is too small, but I've had pets in the past, and I have great sympathy for pets. I consider myself a dog uncle. I love dogs. I love playing with other people's dogs when I go to their house, but I don't have room in my life to take care of a dog right now in the ways that dogs need to be taken care of. So I don't have a pet. But like the sort of ownership of pets is a function of a kind of level of luxury in society. It's like when for most of the past, let's say, 1,000 years, up until the prosperity largely in the United States, having other people could barely feed the humans in their life in Jewish communities until, let's say, the last century or so, for the most part. And so there's not a lot of, let's say, liturgy or literature on taking care of pets. So that doesn't mean that you can't be sad, right? And it doesn't mean that you can't reach out to God when you feel an overwhelming sense of grief that you can't handle on your own. That's part of what prayer is all about, is reaching out to God and saying, look, I don't know that I'm strong enough to handle this on my own, but you're pretty strong, so let's talk about it, and maybe I can borrow some of that strength. That's in a nutshell part of my very layperson's theology of prayer. And so there's nothing that stops you from saying, from having a prayer and saying, God, I'm sad that my pet passed. This is an important part of my life. And so how do I deal with that? And listen, right? And God talks back to you and is speaking English, and I know that's happened to people, but don't expect it to. But nevertheless, I've heard of people having these sort of hitbodedut moments, which means sort of this is a Breslaver tactic. Like Rabbi Nachman of Breslav would say, you should talk to God the way you talk to a friend. Don't worry so much about what's in the Siddur. Like, pray the prayers in the Siddur, that's fine, but you should be able to just go out by yourself into the wilderness and start talking to God like you would talk to another human being, right? And talk to God like you would talk to your friend about the passing of a pet. And I've read accounts of people practicing this and then just being quiet and listening, and they don't like hear a voice necessarily, but they get a message. Like they something appears, like they give some sort of sensation that God is listening and has a response to that. And so I would say for the passing of a pet, don't necessarily look up like what it says in the prayer book, because you might not find it. There's a Rabbi Naomi Levy has a great book on prayer that has a lot of prayers for modern occasions, like losing a job, facing a miscarriage, like things that are also like impactful things in our lives that aren't in the prayer book. There might be something in there. I'm not certain. So thanks for asking that question. Nawa64 says, my mother-in-law's Reform shul had a bark mitzvah to bless the congregants' dogs. So that's a thing that happens. And that's my opinion on that. I'm not judging anybody. Like bark mitzvahs for me are a bridge too far. I respect dogs too much to saddle them with Judaism. I think it's hard enough to be a Jew as a human being. I don't know that I'd wish that on a dog. So with that, I'm going to play a little bit of Zelda today. Certainly if people have questions, put some question marks in there. Been talking about the Torah, so I got distracted, didn't see the question. So if you had a question, I haven't answered it yet, please copy it, put it back in the chat. And I'm going to go to the multi-chat to see what I'm missing over there. Eric Connor's there on Facebook. Good morning, Burbank. All right. Good to see my buddy Eric. What's going on? Wow, Rabbi, you're really pixelated. That's sometimes you just wake up pixelated. Let's see. Glitchy and looping. Whoops, killed my mic. That was me. Rabbi, we missed the Jew Curious class. Okay, we talked about that. Are there prayers to say the death of a pet? My daughter's cat passed last night, and she's pretty upset, right? Just reach out, just talk to God. Talk to God like you're talking to a person, and that's okay. And sometimes there are prayers in the prayer book that are about a specific thing, and I don't say those prayers. I'll just talk to God like a person instead of saying that prayer. And God gets it. It's not like God is like, what? If it's not in Hebrew, I don't understand it. That would be silly. Let's see. Yeah, it's hard. Let's see. Boker Tov Shalom says Dakota Black. Love when Dakota Black throws Hebrew in the chat. Excellent. All right. So let me turn off the techno music, because the titles are kind of clogging up the chat. And then I'm going to take a drink of my morning beverage. Let's see. Julianne Marie 4 says, hello from Maine. Hello, Julianne Marie 4 from Maine. Nice to see you here. I know we got people from all over the country, from people in Colorado and Philadelphia and Maine. Maybe we got some international folks here too. So let's see. And let's see what our good friend Link is up to in Zelda Breath of the Wild. All right. So when last we left him, he was questing around. I've played this game a little bit this week, so we're kind of farther along. I've had some pretty significant boss battles. Part of the thing, we're trying to fight this guy named Calamity Ganon, who's this monster who's like comes around every 10,000 years or something. Or last time we fought him was 100 years ago. Link got injured, went into suspended animation, comes back. The Princess Zelda of Hyrule is locked up in Hyrule Castle, being kept by Calamity Ganon, which sounds like a Clint Eastwood character in a Western, frankly. Ah, here comes Calamity Ganon. Hide the horses. So anyway, we got to beat Calamity Ganon. There's these 4, stone mech beasts, these sort of ancient mechanical beasts that we're supposed to recapture from Calamity Ganon and the bad guys to fight him. And I've got 2 of them. This week I recaptured 2 of them. And so now I've got 2 more to go. What I'm going to do today is I've got to go gather some shock arrows. These are arrows that, it's kind of like the sticky shockers that Sam Fisher uses in Splinter Cell. But what they are is you shoot this arrow and then it electrocutes whatever it hits. So I'm supposed to gather 20 of those to go free the mech from like the Water Kingdom. I went on a quest to do that. I biffed it. Like I did something wrong, or rather, I gathered 20 shock arrows someplace else, and so it short circuited something in the game. So now instead of doing the normal thing to get the 20 shock arrows, I have to do something else. And my daughter, who plays this game, says that there's a specific land southwest southwest of the Hyrule Kingdom that I haven't visited yet. That's a good source for shock arrows. So we're going to the southwest of the kingdom to gather 20 plus shock arrows to go back to the northeast of the kingdom to defeat some kind of giant water beast. And we'll play for about half an hour now. Then I got to get on with some stuff. Lagood question: in my understanding, Jewish tradition holds that the world started in a certain way in the beginning, Genesis, etc. Does Jewish tradition say anything about the end of the world? Let's see. There's probably some things in mysticism. So I was taught by my rabbi, there almost never was a true sentence began with Judaism says. So it's what we have to look at is, a couple of thousand years of text that has asked, where we've been asking the big questions, and we've gotten multiple opinions on each of those. So there's probably some stuff, but there's nothing that is akin to the Book of Revelations, right? There's no there are some prophecies about, okay, there's going to be a big battle in Gog Magog on the plain of Megiddo, or rather the plain next to the mountain of Megiddo, or Har Megiddo in Hebrew. This is where the word Armageddon comes from. Armageddon we use in English in English as like the battle to end all battles, like the destruction of the world, where the world is then reborn under the leadership of some mystical Messiah figure. In the prophetic literature in Hebrew, it's not that cinematic. It's just like there's going to be a big battle. There's going to be an anointed leader who is going to take us back to the promised land and restore the very earthly monarchy under the line of David, right? There are some writings about this Olam Haba, this world to come. This comes from more mystical traditions that says, okay, when this Moshiach comes, and it's probably going to be around this battle of Har Megiddo, they're going to usher in this wonderful era of peace. And you can see sort of mystical elements in this, but you could also read it as a purely historical prognostication, meaning we've had anointed kings before, like Saul and like David. The word for anointed is Moshiach. Like Moshiach is used to describe Saul, who turned out to be kind of a hothead. Moshiach is used to describe David, who turned out to be a good king, but with also some very, human flaws when it came to romantic endeavors. And so the Jewish idea of Moshiach doesn't mean magic person. It means an anointed leader, a leader that seems to have been ordained or picked by God, that is then anointed with oil or Moshiach. And that is probably going to be a political or military leader of some kind. Don't make me say who, because if anybody has a notion of that, you're absolutely wrong, statistically speaking. But then it's going to usher in this era of peace. And a lot of times a new king will come along and usher in an era of peace. But some of the prophecies are like, this is going to be, this wonderful Olam Haba. It's going to be a lot like heaven on earth. So we don't really talk about the end of the world cataclysm, right? Apocalypse. The word apocalypse doesn't mean the end of the world. Apocalypse means the end of history, or maybe the end of an epoch. It's like a big change where things are very different afterwards than they were before, but it's still on the same timeline, as it were. And so it's yes, we have this idea of the instantiation of the world, but even that, at a close reading, isn't the way it's sort of portrayed in post-Greek Christian texts of the world was created ex nihilo, like God just boop, and there was a world. A close reading of Genesis doesn't say in the beginning of everything. It says in beginning, right? In beginning, creating the world as it is today. The world, everything was formless and void, and there was water, and God breathed on the water and separated, high water from low water, and that made ocean and sky. So even going back many, let's say, centuries or millennia, rabbis recognize that the world that we live in now is probably the latest instantiation of the world, not the first universe that ever was. And so right now we are living through this timeline of there was an instantiation of a particular world that started with the material that was there. God just organized it in a very useful way. And at some point, history is going to unfold such that, yes, it sucks to be Jewish for many periods of our history. It was pretty good for like the second half of the 20th century, like middle 20th century, that was pretty terrible. It was good in America for the second half of the 20th century. Now it's getting bad again because people are terrible. And so we'll see. Perhaps there will be a leader that comes along and, cleans up house. Some visions of this future are a particularly wise ruler will have a very long rule of peace. Some versions of this are the dead will rise from their graves and everybody will be restored to Jerusalem. And if you were buried outside Jerusalem, your body will go through these little tunnels until it gets to Jerusalem, and then you pop out of the ground. And then everybody's going to be happy and live in mansions. Real estate's going to be, it's probably going to be a lot of high rises, right? Because there's a lot of people now. And we will feast on the flesh of Leviathan, or the Ashkenazi way of saying Leviathan, the great sea monster. That's what we eat in the world to come. So there are visions of the future, some of them more practical, some of them more mystical. There is a battle involved, but there's no idea of like the world's going to be destroyed. For that, you need astrophysics. Like for that, you need to recognize that by our best guess, our sun is going to go red giant in about 4 or 5 billion years, and the borders of the sun are going to extend past where Earth is, and that's going to be hot. But my dad used to tell this joke that this guy the scientist was saying the world is going to come to an end. It's going to be burned up by the sun in 1 billion years. And this guy hears this lecture and he freaks out. He's like, "Really? What did you say? I'm so scared now. What did you say?" He's like, "I said the world's going to end in 1 billion years." And the guy says, "Oh, thank goodness. I thought you said 1,000,000 years." Right? This is beyond any time that we have to worry about it. So, Trig's in the house and Ruthie's in the house. Nice to see both of you, Trig and Ruthie. T-Fox RPG says Shabbat Shalom. So, enough eschatology, which is the fancy word for theories of the end of the world. We'll jump into here. D. Willexen says, "I understand that technically speaking, Moshiach simply means anointed one, i.e. someone chosen by God for a special and holy purpose. But I also know that beyond the basic etymology, Moshiach has a lot of mysticism around it, that a Moshiach has deep connections to the divine as a kind of earthly manifestation of divine power. I know that David Melech is considered Moshiach in this regard, but what about Shaul? Like Shaul is also called Moshiach, right? People wanted a king. Samuel said that's a terrible idea, but God was like, let him have a king. Let them figure this out for themselves. They're going to see how terrible it is. And Samuel says, no, it's a terrible idea. If you have a king, that king's going to tax you. That king's going to conscript your children into the army for resource wars, and once you win those wars, you're going to bring all that stuff back. Then the king's going to conscript your children to take all those resources and build a big temple out of it, or build castles and stuff like that, and to secure peace for all those wars, that king's going to marry like 100 ladies for treaty purposes, and kings are just a terrible idea all around. But God's like, no, they're going to have to figure this out for themselves. Let him have a king. So I was like, all right, well, who's the anointed one? Let's take Shaul. Shaul, he's tall, right? He's like a head taller than everyone. He's very handsome, kind of a temper on that guy. Turns out, some people would describe him ex post facto as manic depressive, perhaps. Dabbles a little bit speaking to the dead, which is a no-no. But anyway, it doesn't work out for him, right? He had his shot, and then David comes along, and David supersedes him. But my point was that when Samuel says all these things, like you don't want a king because kings do this, fun fact, spoiler alert, Solomon does all of those things. Like Solomon, considered like the wisest, greatest king we had, did all of those things that Samuel warned about. Got us into wars. conscripted armies to fight those wars, married a bunch of foreigners to secure treaties, and then conscripted labor to take those resources and build the first temple, but also, you know, building sort of his empire. So what were the two? So there were two Moshiachot at once. In a sense, I mean, you can't, probably not really, because, you know, David wasn't officially, you know, anointed, meaning they rubbed oil on his head, until after Shaul was no longer king. So Moshiachim, Moshiachot. So like, what's plural of Moshiach? Because Moshiach is an adjective, but we use nouns and adjectives interchangeably. Moshiachim, like anointed ones. So usually it's like one guy at a time. It's like you can't have two kings at the same time. If you do, they don't really get along. So let's play a little bit of Zelda. Great questions today. We got history. We've got end of history. We've got prayers for pets who have passed. Yeah, let's see what Link is up to. I just conquered Akala Tower. Let's make sure you can hear my my game volume a little bit. Desktop audio, video capture device audio. Come on, let's play. Come on, Zelda, make some noise. I'm going to have a little bit of my morning drink here. Heroes, lately, I've been trying to keep to the ketogenic diet. And that's like a big fat. I was into keto before keto was cool. I just want to say that. This is a... I'm not trying to, you know, claim some hipster cred here, but there are times in my life where I've gotten into things right before they blew up. Like, I was into Batman comics. Was my favorite, like, my first favorite comic book was Batman, right before the Batman movie came out with Michael Keaton. And then suddenly everybody's wearing a Batman t-shirt. Like, my Batman t-shirt wasn't hip enough anymore, and I was a very surly 11-year-old. Like, and then I got into the Doors, like, right before the Doors movie came out. And then everybody was, like, super into the Doors. Like, oh, I got the greatest hits. I'm like, I've got all the studio albums, plus a bunch of bootleg live. And then I got into the ketogenic diet, and now it's everywhere. Now my whole Facebook feed is like, keto meal plan, keto shake. It's like, you could have a meal replacement shake for $7 a meal. Like, ugh, whatever. So instead, I make my own concoction. And this particular one is, it's kosher. It's pretty kosher. It's kosher ingredients, but the ingredients are coffee. I use Folgers. That's no money from the Folgers people, but I am cheap. So Folgers, a little Trader Joe's coconut beverage, coconut milk in the green carton. Let's see what else is in there. Hyper refined coconut oil. This is the medium chain triglyceride. This is a caprylic acid, I think. It's the C8 molecule that is most easily converted into ketones. And then a little protein powder. This, I forget the brand that I use, but it comes in a big tub. My powerlifter son recommended it to me because it's got like a lot of protein and no carbs in it. And we've just added something recently. Let's see if I can taste it. There it is. Oh, I got some from the wonderful Keto Sport Company. I got the Keto Force exogenous ketone esters in liquid form, just 3 capfuls into this big jug, and it tastes different from food. A little bit more just to get my my blood ketones up. This is actually a really delicious drink until I added the exogenous ketones. So oh God, it's like if you took your favorite beverage and made it a type of shampoo, right? If he was like, oh, I love I love cherries, it's like cherries and cherry shampoo. Like, it smells like cherries. Don't drink it. Doesn't taste like cherries. Sorry. Let's have a little more. It's like a glutton for punishment, but I am hungry. So exogenous ketone esters. If you've never tried them, it's like some scientists were sitting around and said, you know what? You know what's really dirty is so dirty you can't drink it. Garbage juice, like that stuff that kind of accumulates at the bottom of a dumpster. Don't drink that. It's too dirty to drink. You know what's so clean that you can't drink it? Bleach, right? Bleach is so clean that you probably shouldn't drink it. So if we were going to make a beverage and we took something that's so dirty you can't drink it and something so clean you can't drink it, and if we mix them in equal parts, maybe you could drink it. You know, so if I mix dumpster juice and bleach, that's about what exogenous ketones taste like. So, you know, the only thing that redeems it is the massive tummy trouble you get from consuming it. So now that I've sold you on this, we're going to figure out our way around Hyrule. So I just got up to this cool tower. Where am I? I am in the Akala Highlands here. Got my horse down there. This is not a chess game. That's my actual horse named Mephisto, I believe. And but today I need to get over here. My daughter says that the place to get some good shock arrows and probably some other interesting stuff too is down in the southwest of the kingdom. And as you'll see, I've done a lot of exploring of the northeast here, but not so much the southwest. So that's where we're going to go today, into the great undiscovered country. There's Ruota Shrine. Who's there? The Outskirts Stable. That was like my first stable, I believe, or no, maybe not my first, but certainly a nice stable. Where should I go to? What is this? Shrine of Resurrection. That's where I was born, you know, as a character. There's a stable over there. Huh. Or do I want to go up here and head south? Major test of strength. No fun. So, kind of want a horse for this. So I'm going to go someplace with a stable. Travel to the Rota'u Shrine. And away we go. So let's see. Is it morning on the West Coast? It is now. Oh, we won't. Okay, we won't drink it. Yeah. Netherlands. That's right. T-Fox RPG in the Netherlands. It's past sundown. I started new meds that make me super sleepy, so I just woke up from a nap, getting close to 7 p.m. All right. What am I doing here? I'm going to look at the multi-chat, see who I am missing. I must be away for class. Good Shabbos to all, says Dakota Black. Good to see you. Let's see. Elvella Rambles. I haven't been by in a minute, have I? It's good to see you here, Elvella. Welcome. Keep missing the streams. I'm studying abroad in another time zone. Nice to see you here. Ruthie says, I'm doing great. How are you? Great. I'm really glad. I love this community. People just talking to each other, making friends, and being really kind to the newcomers especially. So here I am, and I want to be heading to the southwest. First, I need to go get a horse. Where's the stable here? Where's the horsey horse? There we go. There's the stable. And you'll see now I'm decked out in some cool stuff. I got a barbarian helmet, which is kind of scary looking, but protects my head. Makes me fiercer in battle. I never knew when I was playing Mario Kart that you could use one of these for the kart parachutes. Where it came from. Hey, welcome. Nice to see you, Trot. Hey, Embry. I would like one of my horses. Let's see. Take one out for a ride. In this game, you can capture horses and tame them. It looks like I have a couple of different horses. There's Mr. Ed. It's kind of even on strength, speed, and stamina. And then there's Mephisto, my new horse. A little faster. Let's go with fast this morning because we're going to try to. Let's see. Triggers and Biff says, will you be updating the lessons on anti-Semitic horse soon? Yes, I really want to get those up by Shabbat, and I've been kind of dragging my feet on that. But stay tuned. Let's see. We're going to take out Mephisto. Teal Fox RPG says, oh, right, Brexit tonight at 11:59. So that's happened. Today is Brexit Day. I didn't know about that. I'm sure it was in the news, but I don't follow Brexit that much. Yes, it's still morning for you all, isn't it? Yes, it is. Let's see. There you go. Thanks for choosing us for all your horsey needs. Horses that have lots of stamina can run at top speed for a long time. Okay. What's up, Mephisto? Let's see. So I'm going to go... Oh. Gotta relearn the controls this morning. Okay, so I want to be heading... I'm about 90 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. Go away, Trot. What's that? Oh, it's like a stick. There's a road around here somewhere. Oh, that's right, there's a well. And Timmy's down there. Come on. Just some tree roots. Go. Ah. So what's the story? What's our character trying to do? So our character is trying to defeat Calamity Ganon and has a lot of like small quests to get there. I have to revive 4 ancient, I'll call them mechs. They're kind of like giant beasts that were created aeons ago to fight this evil. I have to revive 4 of them. I've revived 2 of them. There's one that I'm about halfway there. But to do what I've got to do, I've got to collect some arrows of a specific kind of arrow. Shock arrows. What is this? Oh. Come on, horsey. Actually, here comes my horse, but I'm going to talk to Beetle, see if I can load up on anything. What you got, Beetle? Let's see, I have 800 rupees. Could always use more arrows. Take them all. You get some of those goodies he's got. Maybe sell him some stuff. You mentioned earlier near the beginning a book about the 613 laws and explanation, but I didn't catch the author's name. Okay, so there's 2 of them. Maimonides wrote one. I forget what his is called. So I got the author, but not the title. But the other one is Sefer HaHinuch. So you might find that under Sefer, S-E-F-E-R. HaHinuch is H-A-H-I-N-U-C-H, something like that. But Sefer HaHinuch, you can find out more about it on Wikipedia, and then you can probably find it in my favorite place to get Jewish books, if you're looking for a book in Hebrew, is the Sepharim Center. I don't know if it's in English, but probably there's a lot of it translated into English on Sepharia. Sepharia would be a good site. Sepharia.org, S-E-F-A-R-I-A.org, Sepharia.org. Look for the Sefer HaChinuch, and probably see a lot of it translated into English. Another great resource, if you're looking up for the mitzvot in a particular parsha, I found the Wikipedia page for the weekly parsha to be very helpful, very well. I can't speak for the veracity of all Wikipedia, but the Wikipedia pages for the Parashat HaShavua are actually very well done, especially the section on classical rabbinic commentary on the parsha. It lists all the midrashim and places in the Talmud that talk about things in the parsha, and down below, either in the medieval commentary section or in the mitzvot section, because the Wikipedia page has also lists all the commandments that are in the parsha. And if Maimonides' lists differ from Sefer HaChinuch, which sometimes it does, it'll spell that out for you as well. So let's see. I got tipped off to the Sefer HaChinuch commentary by a book. Nechama Leibowitz has some great books that comment on the weekly parsha and then bring out all sorts of different sources. So I like to read that every week just to see what's going on. Yeah, I think that's included in the Mishnah Torah, his 613. Also, vegan protein powder is 100% plant-based and delicious. That was my vegan buddy I talked to this week, where we were talking about just digital media teaching. He asked me if I was plant-based, and I'm like, because that shake I explained earlier is about 90% of the calories I consume during the day. The only non-plant-based thing is the whey protein. I've tried vegan protein powders. I found one that's kind of decent, and I forget what it's called, but it's like it's specifically for athletes. Most vegan, so I'm not going to disagree with you. As a matter of taste, I personally have found most vegan protein powders to be disgusting. And especially the sort of soy-free ones. Now, you can get soy protein powder that's vegan, that's fine. A lot of people avoid soy for various reasons. The pea protein stuff is too gritty for me. Again, matter of personal taste. But I did find one that was passably unchalky. However, when I spent about a week trying to do vegan ketogenic, and I did not feel good that week. So your mileage may vary, and I highly encourage people to experiment, because if I didn't, I would be a hypocrite. So I'm going to get some frogs here. Fresh out of frogs. Oh. So I'll take all your frogs. Alvela rambles. I'd make a soy boy joke, but I don't think anybody get it. Yeah, I'm not so much in the soy. Can you make your own Havdalah set? I don't see why not. You know, you can buy sets out there that have everything you need, but all you need is the trick is the candles. You know, are usually a braided candle. It doesn't have to be a braided candle. It just has to be a candle with a number of wicks that make a bigger flame, like wicks that come together close enough to make one flame, because the Havdalah candle is supposed to be kind of like a torch. Some people do this with braided candles. Some people do this with candles with multiple wicks in a single candle. You know, if you know how to make that stuff, or you can buy that and then put it with the rest of your, you can make a candle holder. All you need is the candle. You need a spice box of some sort, and you need a cup of wine or grape juice, right? Or is the same kind of liquid you would make Kiddush with. And so if you have a cup and you have a spice box that has some sort of openings that you can smell the spices through, or you don't even, you can put them in like a little muslin bag. I've been places where they made all my kids went to some sort of Jewish school where they had an activity one day of making a Havdalah spice box. Or I've been to retreats where we took spices, put it in a muslin bag, and then that was our spice box. So you can absolutely make your own Havdalah set. Some people like to get nice ones that all match each other, and that's cool. We have one of those someplace, but it's just as legit to have, you know, a few birthday candles held together, plus, you know, a Dixie cup of wine, plus, you know, just take the shaker of cloves out of the cabinet. If that's what you got, that's totally kosher. So there's places you can actually buy besamim, right? And besamim is sort of the Ashkenazi way of saying besamim, or spices that we bless on Havdalah. And they say, no, it can't be just any spices. It has to be this particular mix. So that's a way that we can make money, by telling you that it has to be a specific mix, and we'll even sell that specific mix to you. You can find it in stores. There's a lot of, you know, people will sell anything. And look, if people get spiritual uplift from buying particular mixes, that's cool. But don't let it make you feel bad that you can't do it unless you have that specific product. That's where it gets my goat. My goat has been gotten. Okay, I just like to have a bunch of crickets on hand, not to mention a bunch of hardy lizards. I'll take them all, why not? I do this, and now I'm going to be out of money when I need it. So, because I know, let's see, I have vegan protein powder I can send you to try if you want. That's okay. I did find one that I tried. I'm not really committed enough to the plant lifestyle yet to buy more protein, because I have this giant bucket of whey that I'm just trying to get through. Maybe after that, I'll switch to a vegan source. There is one that I like, but I like the whey stuff more. So maybe after I get out of this bucket, I'll try the vegan stuff that I like. Let's see. It used to be a hemp vegan protein that was really good, but they quit making it. Yeah, my biggest complaint with the vegan protein powders is just it's so chalky. Let's see. Maybe I'll sell them some stuff, because I know I'm going to need some money here soon. I think I already sold them all my good stuff. What is this? Luminous stone. Oh, that's lucrative. Would you like some bat wings? Some octoballoons? No, I'm going to keep all those ancient gears and screws, because I finally found something to do with them. Ooh, mighty porgy. And also, oh, I have a giant's toenail. This is a toenail. I have 4 of them. It's as thick as a plate of armor and can be stewed with critters to make elixirs. Let's see. I don't need all of these. That gets me close. My daughter said I need 600 rupees for a particular item of clothing I'm going to need where I'm going. This should probably do it. Let's see. Triggers and Bibs sounds like a clever, creative idea to make your own Havdalah set. You can absolutely make your own Havdalah set. It's a fun activity to do. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm good for right now. So now I'm going to go on. Nope. Later, Beetle. Okay, hope to see you again soon. Fine, bye. Looks like weather's about to get weathery. One thing on this game is there's weather. You can actually get struck by lightning in this game if you're carrying metal stuff. Some of your daughter's awesome. It's nice to know what you'll need ahead of time. Yeah, so in most way, this is what I love about this game is this open world, this open sandbox, and I've been playing a little bit longer than she has. I'm probably farther along on the main quests, but there's parts of this world that she's been in that I haven't been in. Stay on the road, horse. Another nice thing about riding the horse is, hold on, I'm gonna pause this game. I got a friend calling me. Hey, Jerry. How are you? I'm good, thank God. We having lunch today?
Yeah, that's what I was calling to find out.
Yeah. How about you want to say 12 o'clock over at Hill Street?
Okay, that's fine.
All right, I'll see you then.
Okay.
All right, see you soon, buddy. Bye. Let's see. Where did I put my headphones? Yeah, I was going to pause the game to have a little privacy there, but, you know, just making lunch plans. That's a great radio. No. Also had my email hacked at work. Actually, my email wasn't hacked. Somebody's sending phishing things, pretending to be me. So if you get something from me asking you to buy eBay gift cards, don't buy eBay gift cards. Let's see. Who won the best sandwich contest at PJTG? Okay, I don't want to wake up that dude. Maybe I could just go right past him. I did beat one of these before. See, he's not coming after me, is he? Okay, good. Fortune Psych, Shalom Shalom, Rabbi Carrier. Question, what's the Jewish perspective on destiny or fate? Does Judaism believe that everything happens for a reason or that certain events are predetermined? So, we talked about this a little bit last week. Am I getting shot by people? Yep, those guys are on horses too, so I might not be able to shake them. I'm just going to keep going until I run into a town. So, real quick, and it turns out I'm probably going to have to go pretty soon. These guys still shooting at me? Yep, they're still shooting at me. Hopefully they'll get tired here in a minute. Oh, they hit my horse. Don't be hitting a brother's horse. So we talked a little bit about this last week. Probably my favorite saying in this regard, and I forget if it's Rabbi Akiva or Maimonides. I think it's Maimonides quoting Rabbi Akiva, that everything is in the hands of heaven except the fear of heaven. Meaning that, you know, there's a notion that God set the universe rolling and has some active intervention in the universe, but doesn't exercise control over human freedom of choice, right? And so there is a notion that, you know, things are kind of lined up for a certain course. However, at every point in their life, a human being has the ability to choose their actions. And we can get into sort of the paradox of free will in the presence of omniscience and omnipotence. Not so much of a paradox for me because I'm not really into that that particular notion of God. I'm more of a process theologian, if you will, or, you know, biblical close reader, meaning there's God just says God isn't, doesn't say God is all powerful. God is just super duper powerful. That all powerful thing is, oh hey, there's probably electric arrows around here somewhere. I'm gonna slow down for a little bit because this is interesting. Must have a good horse. I don't. So I'm a traveler like you. Oh. I just had a horse. Am I going to give him my horse? Good-sized horse. You know what? No, I don't think so. I'm not going to sell my horse. So, there are Jewish people who believe that God ordains everything. There's this term in Yiddish that means beshert, or meant to be, or my, sometimes it's a term of endearment. My beshert, when you're talking about a person, it's like my soulmate. It's the person who was intended for me. There is a notion that things are sort of in God's hands, but it doesn't deny human free will. So there is, like I said, if you want to know what Judaism says about something, Judaism usually says everything about something. So there are notions in Jewish philosophy of predestination. However, for the most part, human beings are thought to have free will, and whereas even Maimonides would concede, especially Maimonides would concede, because he's an Aristotelian, that God knows everything that's going to happen, that doesn't mean that God controls human action at the point of decision. So I personally don't cotton to the philosophy of everything happens for a reason. I think that is sometimes used to explain away tragedy in an unhelpful way, right? I think if somebody says, oh, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, or your suffering was ordained by God, I think that kind of theology is actually rather cruel, and doesn't put God in a very good light either. It sort of accuses God of being God's fault when bad things happen to us, and gets humans off the hook, frankly. So I believe that everything happens for a reason, if you include that some of those reasons are human error and quantum physics and randomness in there somewhere. So I believe in a universe that does have a lot of stochasticity to it. I did study finance for a long time, so I know fancy words like stochasticity, which is a graduate school word for randomness. So there are those who are very faithfully Jewish, thinking, okay, if this is happening to me, it must be because God wanted to teach me a lesson. I don't believe that God goes around thumping people just to teach them a lesson. I think that God gives us wisdom that we can learn lessons from bad things that happen to us, but I don't go in for this everything happens for a reason philosophy, because I think it's usually used to explain away bad things in unhelpful ways that actually impugn the Holy One by removing our locus of control. We can't control everything that happens to us. I do believe we have 100% control over our response to it, and I think this notion of predestination, either depending on how charitably you want to read it, either robs us of choice, or gets us off the hook when we should be making better choices. So that's me. So there we go. So Elva, just looking up here, Hamacha surprise dentistry. Let's see. Did you have to change your email? I didn't have to change my email. Somebody actually faked. This was I got ensnared in a phishing thing. So nobody hacked my email per se. They actually put together an email address that was like rabbicarrier.pjtc@gmail. But you have to look really closely to see that. A lot of people this week got emails from me say, it just said Rabbi Carrier. Said, hey, do you have a minute for a phone call? Or, hey, do you have a minute to reach out? And then if somebody responded to that, they said, so I'm in a meeting right now, but we really want to help the poor, so I need you to go to this link and buy a bunch of eBay gift cards. And this is how people scam for money. This happened to me a few times, not to me, but I got these emails from the AJU. Like I was getting emails from the president of American Jewish University, who new president since I graduated, so I've never met the dude, and he's asking me to buy gift cards for some university project. I just saw a headline where I think it was in Chattanooga, like all the rabbis in town got their email identities phished, and I guess people got synagogue directories somehow. I'm a little bit worried about, we use a system called ShowCloud for our synagogue directory, and I'm a little bit worried that gets hacked and exposed, because what I'm most worried about is not that they stole my identity, but they have access to all of our congregants' email addresses. And so this happened. I just saw a news headline that it happened in Chattanooga, and I think it's the same thing that's going on. So if you get an email from a rabbi asking you for something, uh, especially if it's like buying gift cards, don't. It's fake. I don't know a single rabbi that is going to email a congregant asking them to buy rando eBay gift cards. But they don't need it to work on everybody. They only need it to work on one sucker, and then you've got a payday. So, Rabbi, that means you're getting popular. Thank you very much. I think I'll tend to see it that way. So I'm going to play for a little bit longer. I actually got a bananas amount of stuff to do today, so I can't stay too long. But maybe another 15 minutes. Hey. Okay, I see. I'm sure after I went to the trouble of catching a horse and all. Okay. All right, so you know what? If I come across a horse, maybe I'll find you a horse. But what I really want right now is shock arrows. Instead, I'll take your wood. I did see some shock jelly. Let's see. Hut. I was visiting with him because apparently I'm about to come onto a village where apparently only women are allowed in the village. And to get into the village, you have to dress like a woman. And so that's why I need all my rupees to buy a costume and to go into the village dressed like a woman. This looks like something curious. Looks like a village even. Throwing rocks. There's a Havdalah candle with one flame but a braided holder at Judaica Modern Self-Standing Carved Havdalah Candle. Interesting. Yeah, I think what makes it a Havdalah candle, and look, if you have to make Havdalah with a single wicked birthday candle, that's okay too. But the custom is to have something with multiple wicks in it, because it should look like a torch. It should look like a bigger flame because several wicks are brought together. So more the custom. But again, there is such a thing as minimalist Judaism. Like the halakha throughout says that, look, if you don't have 2 pennies to put together, we're not going to make you do all the things. Just do the best you can with the right intention, and that's going to be fine too. Now, if you're being cheap, that's a different thing altogether. Like if you have the money for 2 candles and you refuse to buy them because you want to save your money for, I don't know, a Ferrari, you should get 2 candles. But it's like there's the halakha. My favorite Chafetz Chaim, the Mishnah Berurah. What am I doing here? I find ladders and I like to run up them. Whoop. Whoop. Just got to remember my horse is down in the valley. I wonder if this is going to lead to anything. Let's see. Speaker AJ says, Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you, buddy. See, Stanley Murray said, what's it look like for a person to repent or to be repentant to you, Rabbi? What does it look like? I can't tell you what it looks like because everybody looks different. I like to go with Maimonides' definition from Hilchot Tshuva in the Mishnah Torah, where it says, how do you know tshuva is repentance works? Like, what does real repentance look like? And Maimonides says that if the person is put in given similar circumstances, but makes a different choice, that's kind of the definition of successful repentance, right? So it looks like I'd say, what does repentance look like to me? It looks like, I might be able to get some shock arrows in here from these guys. Successful repentance looks like, somebody who's sincere, somebody who acknowledges what they did and wants to make amends for it. I mean, it's starting to get a little into the AA definition of repentance. Let's see, this guy's not looking at me, so maybe I can hit him in the head with an arrow. Wow, headshot. 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 Oh, there's my bow. Just right when everybody's coming at me to bite me. Let's see. Oh, got a good soldier's claymore. That's nice. That's perhaps more effective. Let's see, that looks like it's going to be the best club for me. Best club to join is that club right there. I'm going to go with, because I got a ton of arrows, I'm going to go with my super duper bow. Oh, these guys have boomerangs. Oh, I died. Alright, Triggers and Viv, thanks for stopping by. Say hi to Viv. Most def. Good to see everybody here. Good to see you, Kathy. Always a great greeter here. Do Alex and Shabbat Shalom. Let's see, I got to get back to my my friends in Colorado soon. We got some planning to do. Give you you sent me what I asked for. I'll respond to it today before Shabbos. Let's see. But glad to see we got some plans coming together. All right, killed that guy. Oh, there's a tower up there. Oh, you know what? I should really stock up on my hearts before I get into this battle. These guys are pretty fierce. Well, thank you for the battle tip, now that I've been killed twice. Alright, how many hearts? Okay. Let's see how my food supply's doing. Roasted bass. Roasted trout. Let's see if I have anything else here. Looks good. Might go cook by their fire here in a minute. I'm just going to eat my fish. That's how my grandma said it. My mom always said fish. You guys want some fish and potatoes? Alrighty. Maybe some stealthy stealth. What? Alright, they've got to be doing something. I'm going to do this battle and I'm going to go. But really great. So, Yermalo, speaking of destiny, etc., I believe that we are in control of our choices and responses. It crossed my mind 2 days ago. I went to a restaurant and had some small talk with a waitress. She was from Measharim and decided at some point to run away from her Orthodox family and start studies in Budapest. Now she works and studies there. Seems to be quite happy with her choice. So I'm not going to tell you to leave your family if you don't like what's going on, but I think it takes a lot of courage to leave the culture that you're a part of and find a path that works right for you. That's why that's why I meet a lot of people here on this channel. People who maybe didn't grow up Jewish find that the Jewish path works for them better, and sometimes it takes a lot of courage to make that separation, and people are afraid of whether their family's going to accept them. And I bet Measharim, if you're not familiar with it, is like when people talk about the ultra Orthodox and really strict neighborhoods in Jerusalem where you might get rocks thrown at your car for driving on Shabbat. They're talking about Measharim. But let's see. Don't have any good arrows that might blow those guys up. Let's see. So the first thing, I'm going to have my super bow. Make sure I'm wearing the right armor. And I've got the right kind of tools. I got the right kind of shield. And that I don't have any good potions. I really should have thought better of this before I came into this battle, but I really need some electric arrows. Okay. You guys look ridiculous. I hope you know that. Wait, how did he hit me with that thing? Okay, I'm not going to mess with these guys. You guys seem a little bit too tough for me today. One more time. That's how you get addicted to video games. It's just like, I just got to get this. I know if I get this right, I got to get this right. I think I have an idea. Gonna load up on my hearts. Oop. See if I can make the best out of that pile of explosives sitting right next to them. Maybe have a little bit of Hyrule herb. Let's see, I have all the right armor on. Got the right shield, equip that. Maybe get something a little more swordy. Like my sword. There we go. And when it comes to runes, I'm going to toss a bomb their way. What the? No, why did I throw my sword? Take that, lizards. Where's my sword at? Nope, nope. Go away, I'm gonna get my sword. Nope. What? He hits me one time. One time. Okay, speaking of one time, I'm going to try one more time. Accidentally threw my sword. Who does that? If you're just joining us, this is the Jew Curious Show, where we talk a little bit about Torah, then we play a lot of video games, and I answer whatever questions you have about Jewish stuff. So... probably should have... Ah! Okay. That's it. I'm gonna go check. I think I got somebody knocking... Well, I don't know if anybody's knocking on the door. Okay, these guys are... Oop, oop. I'm gonna continue, but I'm not gonna stay here. Alright, just a couple more minutes. Really glad to hang out with you. This is a show where we discuss Judaism and Jewish things. Oh no. Why do we have all these metal boulders here? Okay, so that was a little bit fun. That was a little bit fun. I'm just gonna scram. So before they find... Oh, nope, too late. Yep, one hit wonder. Now that I know I can hit them with boulders and blow them up, I just have to keep them at a distance. Let's try this one more time. Maybe I should just avoid them altogether. I should just be sneaky. Try some sneaky serum. little sneaky drink. Be really sneaky. Sneaky. I got a bug. Another bug. Nope, mind your own business. Because if you mind your business, then you won't be minding mine. Oh, mind your business. Okay, interesting. Never been up here before. Oh, there's a tower. Okay. I don't know if this is going to get me any closer to a village. But it might give me a map of this land that, oh, I'm going to sneak up on a butterfly. And I'm going to take the butterfly. Hello, butterfly. Nice. Alright, so I got past those guys. I'm going to go take a crack at this tower before we sign off. Whoop. Oh-de-doo. Link is running for the tower, answering questions about Judaism. This is my Link, Jew Curious song. Alright, let's see what's up here. This just looks like a good place to commit suicide, I guess, unless you got wings like I do. Okay, am I any closer to this tower? Let's see. K Dixie donated 100 bits. So nice. We've been on Twitch for 7 months now. Cheers. 7 months. I had no idea. That's so amazing. Thank you, Kathy. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you for not just for the bits, which is dope, but thank you for just reminding me that we've been learning together this way for 7 months now. Time really flies when you're having fun. Let's see. Let's see what's over this hill. Then maybe I'll quit for the day. Doo-doo-doo. Got some mushrooms. Gonna have a mushroom party. Oh, wait a minute. I've been... Oh, hey, pardon me, dude. Wow, it doesn't seem that long. I know, right? Okay, so I see a lot of these guys who, as we've established, are kind of tough for me to beat, so... This should be interesting. Let's see if I can just sneak around them. If you mind your business, then you won't be minding mine. Oh, and they've got a lot of electric choo-choos around them, so... Let's see if I can't activate those choo-choos. Choo-choos are the big slime bubbles they have over there, and I'm betting that there is a source of electric arrows over there. Okay, I'm going to try one more crazy thing, then we're going to call it a Jew Curious day. Yoop. That was funny. Oh, gotcha. Wow, electrocuted. Okay. Those guys are actually really super hard to beat, and I bet they're about to come kill me now. Boop. But they have been partially electrocuted, which is kind of nice. Oh! Okay, I don't know where I can't see me anymore. Oop. This may have been a bad choice. I just hope I get there before I run out of stamina. Oh, look, there's guys waiting for me over the hill. they don't seem that... Oh, there's a tough guy. Still got my stealth going on here. Not for much longer. Oh, hello. Hello, big guy. Yep. Okay. Now, I'm gonna have some of this fish. I'm gonna have some oibs. Sneaky snail. Have some of that. And some of that. Eat that. That's about as good as it gets. I just gotta see if I can beat this big dude. And then we'll go. Okay. Point blank arrow face. And batted him out. Okay. Got your bow. Got your teeth. Whew! Finally. A victory. Oh, looks like his guts are there. That's gross. I feel like I need another melee weapon after this. We're going to drop my broken club. Drop that. Take your giant spear. Oh, no. Drop that. Ice rod. I didn't mean to drop my ice rod. Where's that spear? What happened to that spear? I just had the spear. Don't need the bow. Did I get the spear? Like the spear just... Oh, here we go. I'm going to go with the sword. Get the choo-choo. I feel like he's vulnerable enough that I can maybe take him. Let's see what happens. Nope, stop throwing rocks. It's not polite. Oh! Why do I not have a sword right now? Why am I hitting the jump button instead of the whack this guy button? Let's see, Kathy says, oh, a few of us have passed our 1-year anniversary at the Jew Curious School. That is awesome. Now this guy just made me mad because I was... Where's the choo-choo? I don't know if I can throw that far. Oh, I did not. Oh, that's just dumb. Okay. We'll load up on stuff. Porgy. Mushroom. Mushroom. Carrot. Raw meat. More raw meat. No, just gotta... Nope, 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 nope. That felt good. Nope. Drop, and boom. One hit. One hit. All right, I think that's a sign. Esther DeBeld, hey y'all, good to see you here. Sorry to sign up as soon as you show up. Yes, so glad to learn with everybody. We've got videos forthcoming, hopefully before Shabbat, in the Jew Curious School. And with that, really glad to learn some Torah with you today. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me. We got some great questions about prayers for pets who have passed. We've had great questions about Moshiach and the end of the world or not. Some questions about predestination, really deep stuff today. So thank you for sharing your questions with us. I really appreciate being a part of your community and you being a part of my community. Until next time, heroes, Shabbat Shalom and peace. Game over, man.